Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 4 of the 28-day book writing challenge. This day is day 4, and I have to confess that I did not get everything done that I wanted to get done today. I would like to have had my whole book blueprinted out from here, which the blueprint is just a chapter writing plan. But on this 28-day thing, the goal is to be able to work about an hour and a half a day, 75 to 90 minutes. Some days it will take 2 hours. Some days you might have to have some catch-up days. So we're not writing 28 consecutive days in this challenge. We are doing 4 days this first week, and then we will have 4 weeks of 5 days in the week. In other words, we started on Tuesday, so we have 4 days this week. I'm not counting Saturdays and Sundays. So then the next 4 weeks we will have 20 days, or that will be 24 days. And then the last week will be another 4 days, and that will finish up our 28 days, not consecutive. I'm taking Saturdays and Sundays off, taking Sundays off anyway, and I'm going to be using Saturday for a catch-up day, and you can do that too. So anyway, if you're following along and you're trying to do this, I pray that things are going well for you. Let me remind myself of what I got done today. Okay, so yesterday I had talked about surveying the top 10 books in your category, and so I did the category of marriage in general, and then I got more specific, and I was surprised that when I typed in valuing your spouse, I did come up with several books that they don't have that in the title, but they were quite relevant to what I was talking about. So that was very good. Now, I want to tell you about what I'm attempting to do today, which is brainstorming. So I came up with the research from those books, and I made notes from the table of contents, and I put in some quotes. And so I did that, and then after I did that, I came up 2 pages of just brainstorming. Excuse me, that's showing the battery being low, and I don't want this to shut off on us, so let me plug this in. All right, we got it. So we have this. So in the brainstorming, we're going to do this, and then I was going to come up with grouping the ideas. And so I'll mention that in just a minute, but I want to tell you about randycarney.com or randysblogs.com. Either one will get you to the same place. randycarney.com might be easier to remember, but just type that in and you'll go to the blog. And then at the top of the page, you will see a tab that says Writing. And there's a little down arrow beside it. If you hover over that, you will see 6-figure writing come up. If you bring your cursor right down on 6-figure writing, that will take you to a page about a course that you can get that would give you weekly lessons for writing. But don't go all the way down to the 6-figure writing. Just click on the tab Writing, and that will give you all the blog posts that are in the category of writing. Now you'll need to go to the bottom of the page and click the arrow to the right to go back to about 3 pages back, I think it is. What you'll have to do is look for the dates. So I'm recommending the blog posts from January 25th through March 2nd. January 25th through March 2nd. if you need to write that down, I'll repeat it one more time. There are 6 or 7 blog posts from January 25th through March 2nd. And they all talk about how you can come up with a writing plan for your book. And so they will tell you how to have a plan for each chapter in your book. Now, I did not get that far along yet. And if you were to be doing this 28 days and following along doing this, you're going to have to do as I do. You will either have to spend more time one day beyond just the writing and catching up, finishing out the writing plan. But what you need to do is you need to at least get the first chapter planned out. And then Monday, whenever you write that chapter, you'll spend a little extra time getting chapters 2 and 3 at least planned out. Or if you just have an extra time, or you could spend an extra hour and just knock out a bunch of those chapter plans. And how to do that, though, is found in these blog posts from January 25th through March 2nd. So I would encourage you to go and read all of those and take notes and get a grasp of how this is going to work. Okay, for today, I was able to survey 9 books, and I wrote down the chapter titles that just stood out to me and a quote or two that were interesting to me. And then, as I already mentioned, I brainstormed and filled up 2 more pages of ideas. After that, I grouped those ideas using symbols, putting the ideas that were together, putting a symbol by those ideas. For instance, put a triangle by a number of ideas that were similar. Then I put a square beside a number of ideas that were similar. I put a check mark by ideas that were similar. And I did that until I got all the way through it. Now, I did have some that were outliers that didn't fit into groups. But when I came up with 10 groups, now I may not use all 10 as chapters, but that shows me that I could. And I came up with an extra category where I wrote down the 9 ideas that did not fit in with the groups. So I could easily come up with ideas for about 10 more chapters. And as I said, I already had 7 chapters. So this would make the book about 170 pages long if I followed the strict way of doing this, the older way of coming up with 10 pages per chapter. However, as we've mentioned, the newer idea is that books are shorter than they were in the past, and that's even preferred by readers. And so if I allow the chapters to be in the 6 to 10 page range instead of the more stringent idea of 10 pages per chapter, which would make the book about 170 pages long. But if I made them 6 to 10 pages long, the final result would come up somewhere between 130 and 170 pages. That's quite encouraging, because I wondered, would I be able to even come up with 100 or 120 that I was shooting for? Remember, I said 125 to begin with. So between 130 and 170 pages. Tomorrow I will be coming up with the chapter titles and then a list of ideas that go with each chapter. And this is a summary of what you will find in those 7 blog posts. I'll come up with a list of ideas, and I will come up keep putting ideas down until I get 12 to 18 ideas. Read the blog posts, this will make more sense. Then I will eliminate 3. That means I will end up between 9 and 15 ideas. To do the chapter plan, I arrange those ideas in the best order. And then I turn each of the ideas into a statement or a question, into a sentence. Having done that, then I go through the list again, and I make all of the ideas questions. And then I will write down 3 trigger words or ideas that will remind me of the answers to the questions. Now that takes some time, and that's more than the allotted 75 to 90 minutes. But once it is done, it just makes everything else flow together so much more easily. So I will be glad to spend the extra time either tomorrow or just extra minutes in the days next week when I get started in earnest, because I'm going to write my first new chapter. Like I said, I already have 7 chapters, and I will bring those in and tweak those somewhat. But starting my first new chapter will be next Monday. And that would possibly be the first chapter of your book. Excuse me. So I encourage you to go look at those 6 or 7 blog posts from January 25th through, what did I say, March 2nd. And that will show you what I'm attempting to do today and tomorrow, and maybe a few extra hours in next week. But once that outline, that plan is done, then the rest of the time will just be spending 75 to 90 minutes on getting those things done. And if I do shorter chapters, it might just be 60 minutes on those. But read the blog post, you'll understand more what I'm talking about the 60 minutes and the 90 minutes. Remember, if you don't already have a timer, I would highly recommend one, because it really works in what we're doing. This is what worked for me, even in this brainstorming, because you could just spend hours and hours and be all over the place. It helps to narrow things down for you. You can always add things later, but this helped to narrow things down. I came up with 10 groups. I haven't even named those groups yet, but I can, because they're all very similar. And those could form 10 more chapters. As I look at it more closely, I may combine some of those, and I may figure out which ones I may want to leave out. All right, well, I hope you have had a good day today, and we'll talk to you later. And it may be Monday before I talk to you again, or I might throw in an extra one tomorrow. Hope you have a great day, great evening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.